Have you ever felt that certain stories, certain characters, resonate deeply within you, even if you've never encountered them before, as if there were an ancestral echo vibrating in your own soul? That sensation, that inexplicable familiarity, may be the gateway to one of the most fascinating mysteries of the human psyche, archetypes. Imagine for a moment the great narratives of humanity, the myths that have shaped entire cultures. Think of the hero who confronts their deepest fears to bring salvation, the sage who offers guidance with words laden with experience, the shadow that embodies our darkest impulses. These figures transcend time and space, appearing in different guises in the legends of distant peoples, in dreams that visit us in the stillness of the night, even in the characters that captivate us in films or literature. Could this recurrence be mere coincidence, or is there something deeper at play? Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychiatrist, dedicated much of his life to exploring these deeper layers of the mind, what he called the collective unconscious. Unlike the personal unconscious, formed by our individual repressed experiences, the collective unconscious would be a reservoir of experiences and knowledge shared by all of humanity throughout its history. And archetypes would be like primordial patterns, universal forms that organize and give meaning to this content. Think of the maternal figure, present in nearly all mythologies and cultures: Isis in Egypt, Demeter in Greece, Mary in various traditions. Though their names and specific stories vary, the essence of the nurturing, protective, and providing mother remains constant. This pattern, this primordial idea of the mother, would be an archetype. It's not a specific image inherited genetically, but rather a predisposition to experience and understand the world in certain ways, to project certain qualities onto figures who play that role in our lives. Similarly, the archetype of the hero manifests in countless narratives, from Gilgamesh in ancient Mesopotamia to Luke Skywalker in a galaxy far, far away. The hero's journey, with its call, challenges, allies, and eventual transformed return, resonates with us because it touches a fundamental pattern of human experience. The quest to overcome obstacles, the test of courage, the transformation through adversity. And what about the shadow? That part of ourselves we often prefer to ignore or deny, yet which resides within us, carrying our fears, our anger, our socially unacceptable impulses. In mythologies, it may appear as the villain, the trickster, the tempting serpent, but psychologically, the shadow is an essential part of our wholeness. Integrating it rather than repressing it is a crucial step toward individuation, toward becoming the complete person we are capable of being. Have you ever wondered why certain love stories move us so deeply, even if they're fictional? Perhaps it's the archetype of the lover at work, with its pursuit of union, intimacy, and deep connection, or why the figure of the sage, with their long beard and piercing gaze, naturally inspires trust and respect. Perhaps it's the manifestation of the sage archetype, the one who seeks knowledge and shares accumulated wisdom. These archetypes are not just distant figures in ancient books or movies. They manifest in our daily lives in subtle and powerful ways. Our relationships, career choices, fears, and aspirations are often influenced by these archetypal patterns operating at an unconscious level. As we begin to recognize the presence of these archetypes in ourselves and in the world around us, a new layer of understanding unfolds. We can start to comprehend why we react in certain ways to certain situations, why we're drawn to certain types of people, or why we identify with certain narratives. It's as if we gain a new map to navigate the labyrinth of human experience. If this journey of discovery resonates with you, if the idea of exploring the depths of your own psyche intrigues you, I invite you to join this community of seekers. Subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for the next explorations, and leave a like if this conversation has already made you think differently. Your interaction is the fuel for us to continue unraveling the mysteries of our existence together. Our journey through the pathways of the psyche, we realize that archetypes are not static, fully formed entities. They are dynamic, malleable, and manifest in unique ways in each individual, influenced by their personal history and cultural context. It's as if there were a universal melody, but each instrument interprets it with its own timbre and nuances. Think of the archetype of the warrior. In some cultures, it may be personified by the fearless knight, ready for physical battle. In others, it may manifest as the tireless activist, fighting for social justice. Or it may reside in someone who faces their own inner demons with courage and resilience. The essence of the warrior, courage, determination, the ability to overcome challenges, remains, but its expression adapts to the context. This adaptability of archetypes shows us that we are not mere puppets of unconscious forces. Though influenced by these primordial patterns, we have the ability to engage with them consciously, to integrate their various facets into our personality. Becoming aware of our own dominant archetypes can help us understand our behavioral patterns and make choices more aligned with our true self. For example, if we recognize a strong presence of the savior archetype in ourselves, we may become more aware of the tendency to always take on the role of solving others' problems, sometimes neglecting our own needs. This awareness allows us to find a healthier balance between helping others and caring for ourselves. Similarly, recognizing the influence of the innocent archetype can help us understand our tendency to idealize people and situations, leading to inevitable disillusionments. By bringing this archetypal facet to light, we can cultivate a more realistic and mature perspective on the world. Ancient mythologies offer a vast panorama of the interplay between archetypes. In Greek mythology, for instance, we see the complexity of figures like Zeus, the king of the gods, embodying power and authority, but also infidelity and impulsiveness. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and strategy, represents intelligence and reason. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, incarnates passion and sensuality. Each of these gods and goddesses can be seen as a manifestation of a specific archetype with its own characteristics and dynamics. In Hindu mythology, we find the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, representing creation, preservation, and destruction, transformation, respectively. These three fundamental aspects of existence can be seen as cosmic archetypes that permeate all of reality. Spiritual narratives also echo these archetypal patterns. The Buddha's journey in search of enlightenment, the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ, the pilgrimage of the Prophet Muhammad, all these archetypal stories of sacrifice, redemption, and transformation resonate on a deep level within us. But what ultimately is the origin of these archetypes? Where do they come from? Jung believed they were inherited through the collective unconscious, as patterns of behavior and thought passed down from generation to generation throughout human history. This idea may seem somewhat abstract, but we can think of them as innate, predispositions to perceive and respond to the world in certain fundamental ways. Imagine a baby born with the ability to recognize a human face and respond to a mother's touch. These are not learned skills, but innate predispositions that facilitate survival and social connection. Similarly, archetypes would be psychic predispositions that help us make sense of our experiences and connect with others on a deeper level. However, the way these archetypes manifest is always influenced by culture and individual experiences. An archetype like the Great Mother may be expressed very differently in a matriarchal society compared to a patriarchal one. The stories and symbols we use to represent these archetypes also vary widely from culture to culture. This interplay between the universal and the particular is fundamental to understanding the nature of archetypes. They are like a universal skeleton of the psyche, which gains flesh and color through our individual and cultural experiences. We reach a crucial point in our exploration. If archetypes are these universal patterns that shape our human experience, what is the deepest mystery they reveal about ourselves and the nature of reality? Think for a moment about synchronicity, those meaningful events that seem to occur by chance but carry a profound resonance with our inner states or external events. Jung saw synchronicity as a manifestation of the interconnection between the psyche and the world, as if there were an underlying order that transcends linear causality. Could archetypes be the links that connect these inner and outer dimensions? Imagine you're going through a period of great transformation in your life, and suddenly you start encountering symbols of rebirth everywhere, the image of the phoenix rising from the ashes, the metamorphosis of the butterfly, stories of overcoming and renewal. Would it be just a coincidence? Or could it be the archetype of transformation manifesting in the external world to mirror the process happening within you? This perspective invites us to look beyond a purely materialistic view of reality, to consider the possibility that the psyche is not confined to the brain, but is deeply interwoven with the fabric of the universe. Archetypes in this sense could be like the primordial forms that give structure to both our subjective experience and the patterns we observe in the world around us. What if the search for meaning, so inherent to the human condition, were driven by our need to connect with these archetypes? What if the stories that touch us deeply are those that resonate with these universal patterns in our collective unconscious? Have you ever felt inexplicably drawn to a particular place, a specific person, a certain type of art or music? Could that attraction be an echo of an archetype seeking to manifest in your life, seeking connection, expression? And when we face great challenges, moments of crisis that push us to our limits, isn't that the hero's journey unfolding in our own lives? The trial, the struggle, the eventual overcoming, and the transformed return. These are the archetypal elements we find in countless stories and also live out in our own journeys. Spirituality, in its various forms, also seems to draw nourishment from the language of archetypes. Divine figures, rituals, sacred symbols, all these can be seen as archetypal expressions that connect us to deeper dimensions of our existence and to the mystery of the transcendent. The idea that we are part of something greater, that our individual experience is connected to a collective story spanning millennia, can bring a profound sense of belonging and meaning. Recognizing archetypes in our lives is recognizing our shared human heritage, the tapestry of experiences and wisdom accumulated by our ancestors. If archetypes are these primordial forms inhabiting the collective unconscious, how can we become more aware of their influence in our lives? What clues do they offer through our dreams, our fantasies, our emotional reactions? One way to access the world of archetypes is through the analysis of our dreams. Jung considered dreams the royal road to the unconscious, and they often manifest through archetypal images and symbols. Paying attention to recurring themes, characters, and emotions in our dreams can offer valuable insights into the archetypes active in our psyche. Another way is through observing our projections. We tend to project our own unconscious contents, including our archetypes, onto the people and situations around us. For example, if we have a strong need for the father archetype in our life, we may unconsciously project that figure onto our bosses, mentors, or other authority figures. By becoming aware of these projections, we can begin to better understand our own needs and inner dynamics. Art, literature, music, and film are also rich in archetypal expressions. The stories that captivate us, the characters we identify with, the images that evoke deep emotions, all these may be resonating with archetypes in our unconscious. What stories, what characters, what images particularly draw you? What qualities do they embody? Could those qualities be reflections of archetypes seeking expression in your own life? As we open ourselves to the language of archetypes, we begin to perceive the depth and complexity of the human psyche. We cease to see ourselves as isolated individuals and start to recognize ourselves as part of a web of meanings that stretches across time and space. And so, as we contemplate the nature of archetypes, we are led to a profound revelation that the journey of self-knowledge is not just an exploration of our personal history, but also an immersion in the depths of human history. Archetypes are like the underground currents that shape the landscape of our psyche, connecting us to an ocean of shared experiences and wisdom. Recognizing the presence of these universal patterns in our lives offers us a new perspective on our challenges and potentialities. The struggles we face can be seen as manifestations of the hero's journey. The relationships we cultivate may echo the archetypes of the lover or the companion, and the wisdom we seek may be the voice of the inner sage. Instead of feeling isolated, in our experiences, we can connect with the vast tapestry of human existence, realizing that the themes permeating our lives are the same ones that have challenged and inspired humanity since the dawn of civilization. Looking at your own life, what archetypes do you recognize as most influential? How do they manifest in your relationships, your choices, your dreams? The journey of individuation, the process of becoming the complete person we are capable of being, involves integrating the different facets of archetypes into our psyche, including those we consider dark or unacceptable. Instead of denying or repressing these parts of ourselves, we can learn to recognize them and work with them consciously. The shadow, for example, when integrated, can become a source of creative energy and self-knowledge. The trickster, with its irreverence and ability to subvert established order, can free us from rigid patterns and open us to new perspectives. What aspect of yourself have you been avoiding or denying? Could there be an archetype behind that shadow, waiting to be recognized and integrated? Understanding archetypes invites us to a constant dance between our inner world and the outer world, between our individual experience and the collective heritage of humanity. It is a journey of continuous discovery, a dive into the depths of the soul that reveals the beauty and complexity of being human. If this exploration has touched you, if you feel we've unraveled something important together today, leave your keyword in the comments, the word that sums up what resonated most with you. Give this video a like if it offered you a new perspective, and share it with those who are also seeking to understand the deeper layers of existence.